What's up, everybody? Good evening. Welcome. About to get started. Go over some of the updates. The death toll has risen. Sade Perkins crashing out. Wow. Crazy. Drone hit a helicopter. Oh, man. Good evening. Welcome.
As a result of those floodwaters that just really tore through this area over the Independence Day weekend. And, you know, to your point, Heather and Casey, all talking about really the human aspect of this all, right? As I mentioned, we did just get here a short time ago. But I can tell you in that time being set up here, we've had a couple of people who have really pulled over and walked up to this fence here, again, as close as they can get to seeing some of that devastation. Many of them grew up here in this area, and they tell me that this is a strong community, that this is a community that is
quite
really
a bit to go through. What's up, everybody?
The leisure area here, with lots of people attending these recreation areas and these camps. So they really love seeing all of the children and all of the camp counselors who come here every summer to take part in what they consider to be such a vibrant and important community. And I talked to one mother, her name was Tiffany, and she showed up here with her 16-year-old daughter, and she tells me that as a mother, she is just devastated over what she heard and saw. They happened to be out of town at a vacation home in Corpus Christi when they saw all of this posting on social media, and she said she just wanted to get down here and help, but knew that there was nothing that she could do. But again, as a mother, it really just devastated her to see all of the stories being posted online and hearing all of those tragic stories with parents, as Casey mentioned, who are going to go to bed tonight not knowing where their loved one is, if their loved one is still alive. They tell me that they're really trying to volunteer their time. That's where they were out today, looking for areas where they could volunteer their time. They say that they haven't been able to do so because there has been so many people in this community who have been wanting to do the exact same thing. So they know for right now all they can do is take a pause, take a step back, and really just be available for when they're called and when they are needed. Listening to that press conference today, I can tell you it really struck me that U.S. Senator Ted Cruz actually got a little emotional today when he was talking with reporters because of the fact that he revealed that just
saying that a flash flood remains a threat to Central Texas tonight. We're going to go over some of the updates, man. The death toll has risen. Tragic, horrific flood. They're still searching for 10 missing campers. If you're wondering about that, 104 people, including 28 children, killed, man. There's something else here too. Let me play this.
And tonight, the union representing National Weather Service forecasters tells the News 5 investigates on the night of the storm, staffing was adequate at the offices that issued critical flood warnings. But the union says budget cuts have left other weather service offices severely understaffed.
So they're saying, I have a clip too from Carolyn Levitt, I think, from earlier today, the White House press conference. I mean, she basically said that they were staffed appropriately. So they're saying here that they were staffed appropriately, but other places weren't.
But the union says budget cuts have left other weather service offices severely understaffed, raising questions about whether we're prepared for the next storm. Here's senior investigative reporter Scott Friedman.
Tonight, the deadly storm that swept through the Texas Hill Country, shining a light on the critical role of National Weather Service forecasters, called on to issue alerts when every minute counts. As NBC5 Investigates reported last night, Weather Service records show forecasters warned of flooding 12 hours before the storm, and then issued more urgent warnings in the early morning hours before the Guadalupe River reached flood stage. The union representing forecasters saying today Weather Service offices in Central Texas were prepared.
The staffing that we had in both San Angelo and San Antonio offices, we had adequate amount of staff to get out the alerts and warnings to the public.
But union officials say if flooding happened in other cities across the country, some Weather Service offices might not be adequately staffed. In Texas, the union says 30% of jobs at the Weather Service office in Houston are vacant. They say the Fort Worth office that covers the DFW area is better staffed, but still has 3 vacant forecaster positions, according to union officials. The union fears forecasters working long hours to cover extra shifts can lead to burnout, especially during the dangerous summer storm season.
They are tired. People are tired. People, they need to get a break.
Forecasters have complained about staffing shortages for years. In fact, 10 years ago, NBC5 Investigates reported there were about 500 vacant frontline forecaster positions at Weather Service offices nationwide due to budget cuts and periodic hiring freezes. But the union says the situation became more critical this year when they say about 600 staffers left the agency. About 100 probationary employees were laid off in Trump administration cuts, the union says, and hundreds of workers took early retirement offers.
That's 600 less people working to help keep you safe every day.
In a statement to NBC5 Investigates, a National Weather Service spokesperson said the agency plans to hire additional forecasters soon, saying a targeted number of permanent mission-critical field positions will soon be advertised in the coming weeks. The agency said it's also temporarily assigning employees to offices with the greatest staffing needs, but a spokesperson did not respond to questions about specific staffing numbers. In recent days, the Weather Service has said warnings it issued in the Central Texas floods provided hours of lead time. But questions remain about whether those warnings reached victims in an area.
That was a big thing, too, because of whether they have service or whatever, sleeping, did it reach, they don't even have phones because they take the phones away. Did it reach people out there? Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. I have a couple things that we got to get into, so I appreciate you giving it some time for people to join. Danielle, thank you for the 15 months. Appreciate the support. Says, dang, that looks like Houston. We have flood due to tropical storm and hurricane. Yeah, North Carolina's being hit too. Adam said, live in nature, expect what nature can do. It's getting pretty crazy with this storm thing. I don't know what's the count going to be. Like, how high are we going to go with the death toll, right? Like, we're over 100 now. They're saying 104. Catastrophic disaster. Just horrific. And there's still warnings. Now let's get into the helicopter thing for a second. Let's give me a second. Let me just set up the screen. Let's see. Hopefully this shows up right. Let's see if that shows up properly. So you can't hear me? You should be able to hear me. I'm loud and clear. Okay. Let me just pull up this, the whole situation with the helicopter. Oh no, helicopter. So, Raw Alerts posted a private operated drone has collided with a search and rescue helicopter. Dude, that reminded me, I think it was during the California fires. I think a drone hit one of those planes and they had to make an emergency landing. I think it was a drone. So I had to make an emergency landing. Emergency crews in Kerrville, Texas are urgently asking the public to ground all drones immediately until ongoing flood search and rescue operations are complete. This follows a serious incident this afternoon where a privately operated drone illegally entered restricted airspace and collided with a helicopter involved in rescue efforts. The helicopter was forced to make an emergency landing, and a critical piece of response equipment is now out of service. Until further notice, officials say this was entirely preventable. Temporary flight restrictions, TFRs, are not suggestions. They are federal rules designed to protect lives during emergencies. I wonder if they know who it is, and will they charge them? Because I think in Cali, I think that person got charged. I think they even did a whole press conference about that. was very, very, very serious. You know, here's the city of Kerrville. Please ground your drones until the current flood and search and rescue operations are complete. I mean, I get people probably want to get an overview of the land and the damage and like survey everything. But it's a potentially very dangerous thing. You can cause an accident or reduce search efforts. So that's a mess right there. Now, let me see here. We'll go with this here. Family, blah, blah, blah. Fire tonight.
And the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, Blair and Brooke Harbor, 8th and 6th grade sisters at St. Rita's Catholic School, Dallas. The girls were killed when their cabin was swept away by the rushing waters of the Guadalupe River. And the Camp Mystic director, Richard Dick Eastland, longtime resident in Kerr County, gave his life as he tried to rescue campers from the fast-rising floodwaters. Some who died in the flood we've previously talked about, families are asking now for privacy, overwhelmed with heartbreaking grief in this sad, sad story that is not near an end.
I need to tell my community and those families who are waiting, this will be a rough week. Primary search continues, and we remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river. Our work continues. You need to know that we have been blessed with help from the community, from the state, and the nation.
Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.
We have much more on this tragedy to come here on Fox Local. Stay with us.
Okay, so let me get to one of the other topics too here. We got the drone situation. We also have, okay, let's see how we're going to do this first. Oh, this one. Let's do this first. The next thing is this it's a lot here. There we go. Austin Firefighters Association. So I guess there was some type of drama with this. Statements released from Austin Firefighters Association. Are you angry yet? This is from Sarah Fields. It brings the Austin firefighters no pleasure to report that to the community that the Austin fire chief denied the deployment of Austin firefighters to Kerrville until very late into the event. So today, with the exception of 3 AFD rescue swimmers who helped staff helo teams, which still were not deployed until this afternoon of the 4th, the Austin Firefighter Special Operations teams are specially trained for hill country swift water rescue and are some of the best, if not the best, swift water boat teams in the state of Texas. It is absolutely outrageous that the Austin Fire Chief Joel G. Baker would not allow highly trained firefighters from Austin to respond to Kerrville because of the egregious dereliction of duty. Lives were very likely lost because of Chief Baker's decision. Deployment orders came down from the state of Texas on July 2nd. We would have been pre-deployed before the waters even began to rise. It is unforgivable that a chief would not allow his firefighters to answer the call to save lives. Why would Fire Chief Joel G. Baker do this, you may ask? It was a misguided attempt to save money. I say misguided because the fire department is fully reimbursed by the state to deploy. I explained the reimbursement process to Chief Baker last week, and he failed to understand this very simple concept. We're disgusted with our fire chief, and he needs to be held accountable and fired for the disgraceful dereliction of duty. So please support your Austin firefighters by sharing this post. There's an article about it. I guess local issues and dramas and delays. Now, the other thing, let's see how we're going to do this. How we going to do this? Okay. Let's get to this lady first, and then we'll do Sade Perkins, because Sade Perkins is crashing out, apparently, and she's getting exposed. But let's jump to this lady first. Some other lady on TikTok. Right here, let's check this out. Oh, God.
So, I hate to be the one who points it out.
Please,
but
no.
It seems like it needs to get pointed out. So, are we not paying attention to majority of the videos that's being shared about this flood and the certain that's on the videos? Hopefully this is opening up some eyes and showing people that he watches. I don't matter who's watching. They're watching.
Yes, God's acting on your behalf in your political beliefs.
See you as a person and what you're teaching your kids and how your children treat others and how you treat others. And maybe y'all weren't the best of, helping thy neighbor unless they were still or the same
same skin color
as you. Because I find it ironic that it was the deep southern of Texas that it happened to. We knew back in the days where they used to do everything deep down in the southern. So hopefully this changes and open up a whole lot when it comes to treating people as equal. Okay.
Yes, that's what it was. It must be God sent the floods to get white people. Let me set this next thing up because I have a couple links I needed to pull up. So the Sadie's thing too, she's kind of crashing out. And I think she's pretending to be unaffected and not care. And so then she posted some videos of her at a gun range. There's another picture, something with guns, gun range. I think she did this because people are starting to catch up to her. All the attention she loves the attention, but it's starting to catch up to her because people are pulling up her past, her history. And if you don't know, this is the lady that was just reveling with joy that the kids are deceased and that they deserved what happened. Okay, good. I got this here. All that here. Okay. Let's see this for last. Okay. So, Sade. This is the other one that was tweaking out, crashing out. From what I saw, she had made this poem. So she's over here. Don't let pride be the death of you, Kendrick Lamar. So she's doing this stuff as if it's gonna scare people or something. She's at a range because the internet's coming for her, and she wants to let people know that she's carried and armed. In her head, she's going to war from some like righteous war, or whatever, I guess. Sarah Fields, man, she's just digging, researching. Update on Sade Perkins. She is a violent convicted felon. And I'm wondering why she has a gun then if she's a convicted felon. As of last month in June 2025, bodily injury, family member, battery, theft, and burglary. A dangerous felon with a gun. What could go wrong? Allegedly. So they pulled up some records. June 12th, theft and burglary. Fort Bend County Sheriff's, Texas. Theft and burglary. So one was from June 12th, 2025. This other one's November 21st, 2014. June 12th, 2025. False statement to obstruct public officer. Assault causes bodily injury, family violence. I'm sure that was all racism too. It's racism's fault. And so they're pulling up all this stuff. Black female, blah, blah, blah. The history is coming up. Sade Perkins recently sparked outrage with a viral, racially charged video about Camp Mystic in Texas following the disappearance of children during the floods. Has now posted a new video of herself at the shooting range. Caption: to anyone who thinks it might be a good idea to come to my address, I got a bag of tricks waiting. I wonder if she took this video. I'm not sure. I have to look because I didn't see it. Is she saying this is in her house, or was this at the gun store? She was selecting which gun to use, I guess, or purchasing a gun. I don't know. So the wave of the internet's coming down upon her.
You know what, folks? This report actually hurts because I got to find out who Sade Perkins really is. And she just split the black community with her corny, cowardly racism. So let's be real. Sade Perkins didn't just go viral on TikTok. She exposed everything wrong with this twisted, godless, race-obsessed ideology called Democrats.
Oh, God.
This woman mocked the death of Christian girls in Kerr County, Texas. She called them little see you next Tuesdays. She also said it might have been God's will that they all drowned. And why? Why? Because they were white. Because they were Christian. Because she believes vengeance is a virtue if the skin tone is right. But here's the deep
This is a pretty dramatic video.
Hypocrisy in this. By all accounts, she's married to a white pastor.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Lives comfortably in a home in Houston. Sits in a progressive, white-led church. And by blood, DNA, just looking at her, you could easily tell that she's part white herself. And yet, she runs her black mouth like blackness is her God, like melanin is sacred scripture, like racial pain gives her license to not only be cruel, but to be repugnant. Oh. She doesn't serve the Lord. She serves her own melanin density, her skin. She bows to the altar of bitterness. She covers it like hashtags of equity and justice. But wait, it gets far and more seethingly worse. She called black people who live peacefully with other Americans tools. She said they were used in pictures by white.
The music's kind of killing me, though.
It's Asians and Latinos. She actually said if it was Asian people that died, no one would care. That goes to show what she thinks about Asian people. She called us props in multicultural harmony, like our dignity doesn't exist until it comes from rage. So let me get this straight. If I don't hate white people, I'm a token. If I don't worship my skin tone, I'm a sellout. If I believe in unity, I'm somehow a traitor. That's not pro-black. That's not righteous. That's not rooted in any kingdom but hell itself. That's not
I like that. I like what he's saying.
What Jesus said to do.
It's in hell.
Sade Perkins.
I did say that in a video. She's
split the black community. And the line is crystal clear. You either follow her into the pit of racial supremacy, or you rise above it and stand on truth like me with faith and dignity. She doesn't speak for black women. She doesn't even know what a woman is. She doesn't speak for believers, Christ-centered people. She doesn't even speak for the DNA running through her own veins. As an American, she mocked dead children, folks. Dead ones, 28 of them. Praising the Lord, got swept away. She slandered peaceful black Americans like myself, and then ran back to her white husband and locked her profile like a coward. This isn't justice, it's witchcraft.
Yo, what is going on with this thing? It's like, I feel like I'm like an adventure game or something. Like
she made herself a martyr of the demonic left.
Whoa!
But we will not bow.
Oh!
So no, we don't defend her. Her actions are filth, deplorable, repugnant, feminist, colorism. And we rebuke her, we oppose her, and we say it loudly and proudly. You are not a queen. You are not our voice. You are not even a witness. You're a hypocrite wrapped in hashtags until you repent.
Yo, that's crazy. A hypocrite wrapped in hashtags.
And before the living God, you will remain what you've become. a fraud, a divider-in-chief, a disgrace to the black community.
Damn. It's like an adventure game, like a superhero. This is the board of directors from the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, museum director, Sade Perkins, partner, husband, senior minister. Sade Perkins. What's what you got to say, mama?
Listen, I'm about to get off an overnight shift, and I got time today.
Oh, shit, we got time today.
Sadie, whatever her name is. She went ahead and deleted her profile, but listen. That doesn't save you from me. Nope. The fact that you even try to compare literal missing children to children whose parents decided to try to break the law, enter our country, and now they're in a detention center awaiting processing so they can go the fuck back to where they came from. You've lost your mind, and I think it's a real good idea for you to take a break from social media, because there's no way. How dare you?
Oh shit! Damn, she tapped the screen too. She hit that shit. I felt like she hit me.
For you to take a break from social media, because there's no way. How dare you try to say or try to compare such a tragic, truly tragic situation to some fucking illegal immigrants who chose to break the law and brought their kids here, and now their kids are suffering the repercussions. None of the children that are missing, or any of the fatalities, or any of the people that were hurt in this recent natural disaster, none of them chose for this to happen. Your illegal immigrant friends that you're trying to sit here and protect, they chose for this to happen. Go get your fucking green card, go get your paperwork, and do what the fuck you're supposed to.
Damn.
If anybody tries to stand up for this shit, or stand up for this person, Sadie, Sade, whatever the fuck.
Oh, shit.
You need to scroll along. Don't be on my page now.
Ooh, you better watch out. Okay, don't mess around with her. Okay. So just a little update on the Sadie stuff, the drama with that. Like I said, I think she's truly loving the attention. But I also think behind closed doors, maybe she's a little nervous. I do think she's a little nervous about the whole situation escalating. Oh yeah, I wanted to put this on for you guys. I have a couple of clips too to take a look at, but by the way, on icKedMeL clips, I covered the mass shooting. I did a brief clip, fast clip. I showed the video. It was crazy. It was such a wild shooting to see on a Ring camera. I swear my Ring don't capture that much. This shit was high definition. The guy that was shot, well, while I'm talking about it, and then we'll get back to this real quick. While I'm talking about it, this is just insane. Check this out. Subscribe to icKedMeL clips if you haven't, because you're going to miss new stories and stuff. Boom. Get this real quick. Sidestep. One of the 3 men killed in Philadelphia mass shooting overnight, Azir Harris, 24, was shot multiple times in his back in his wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair. He's paralyzed, right? Azir was paralyzed in a prior shooting when he was 17 years old and is advocating for gun violence, or was advocating for gun violence survivors ever since. And the hood, these despicable people shot and killed this guy. All right. So crazy mass shooting. That was last night. Insane. All right. Let me get this. I have another thing for that later. We'll touch on that in a bit, but let me get back to this. Okay.
Volunteers have gone down to Central Texas. They are helping to clean up, and that's the next story that we want to bring you from Jillian Hartman.
I never seen anything like it. It was so quick, so rapid. It just like a tidal wave.
Neighbors living in Hamilton Creek Manor woke up in a panic when the creek nearby overflowed, causing major flooding. Ricky Reed walks us through those terrifying moments.
I don't know.
I looked out, and the water was already coming in, and I tried to shut the door real quick, and it wouldn't shut because the pressure was so much coming through. So I came around this way. And by the time I got in this hallway, it was already rushing in this direction. So I sat on my bed I sat down on my bed right here and put on a pair of the pants and a shirt real quick and shoes, and water was already, well, you can see it was about right here. And so I came out the door, and I grabbed my wallet and my car keys.
I was muted the whole time on the other social media platforms, apparently. The only place I could hear me was YouTube. 30 minutes in, nobody told me. I didn't look at the other chats because this thing is so crazy over here. It's literally got 5,000 people here. And so I got a call, I think, through the Google Voice. Tanya, thank you for telling me. And she's like, oh, you didn't, man, I wish they would have watched me ranting or whatever. I don't even know what I was saying, whatever. I wasn't really ranting, but, oh, man. Sorry, guys.
This door up here, the water was already rushing out that way.
Here's the aftermath of the flooding. Families are salvaging what they can and cleaning up the mess left behind. Reed says right now 32 out of the 40 units here are unlivable. He said they had minutes to escape, and he helped his neighbors get to safety.
I ran around and I woke up Fran and Inez, and that end apartment was right there. And then Sue and her daughter that live here, there's one that called me and said, look out the front door. Well, we loaded up in their vehicle, and I took my black truck, and we went over here to the church.
I'm so sorry.
To high ground, and that's when all this thunder and lightning was just terrible.
So it happened in an instant. Yeah. You had minutes to get out.
Yeah, but within 5 minutes, it was life or death. But I could not sit here and let that water carry us away and not help my friends and everything like that. I'm not a coward. So I made sure that they got out. If I lost my life over it, then that's fine.
Damn, well, ride or die.
Then I'd feel better.
Okay.
You know, I'd feel good about it.
Wow.
All right, that was Jillian Hartman reporting from our Houston sister station.
Yeah, we're going to have much more coverage coming up after a quick break.
That was just some of the great coverage there from Fox 4 out in Dallas. We do want to continue on to take their coverage live right now on Live Now from Fox with the latest right now.
Disaster. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Casey Stiegel. Thanks for joining us tonight across the Fox digital platforms. We want to update you on the very latest information unfolding on this disaster. The death toll from the weekend flooding in central Texas has now risen to 104. Fatalities reported across 6 counties. Most of those deaths happening in Kerr County. At least 10 girls from Camp Mystic, they are still missing at this hour. Officials say crews were able to rescue more than 850 people over the holiday weekend. This morning, a press conference took place in Kerrville with city leaders, first responders, and other officials alongside Senator Ted Cruz.
The numbers are really hard to digest, especially the number of people who lost their lives in this flooding and the number of people still missing and how many rescues there were. And also the visual of what people see, like our reporter, Fox News reporter, Sarah Allegri, who was there live in Kerrville. So talk to us, Sarah, about where you are, what you're seeing.
Heather, Casey, good evening to you. Yeah, I'm here at Guadalupe Park, and we are seeing the extensive damage surrounding me. Now, I want to talk about that torrential rain that we experienced early Friday morning. I mean, we saw so much rain in a short amount of time. The ground wasn't able to soak up all that moisture. It was incredibly saturated, pushing all of that rainwater downhill into the river, causing it to surge nearly 30 feet within a matter of 45 minutes. I want to take you down this hill. We saw damage reach up to this area, uprooting trees, and just looking along the river here, we see several trees. This is the story for at least a mile down the way, and it is so incredibly hard to wrap your mind around it, because with this image comes a very compelling story. We also talked to community members who live by in Ingram. One individual tells us he was trapped for more than a day.
We weren't able to get across. Matter of fact, it was over 24 hours that we weren't able to get across the creek. Just a lot of devastation, trees that were
the drone, I can go over it again for people that missed it. I already covered it earlier. Basically, a drone had hit a helicopter. It hit a rescue helicopter. There's no actual, I haven't seen any images. I've seen a picture like a helicopter, but I haven't seen any images or anything of an actual. Kerr County, Texas said that, and they've warned multiple people not to fly, private owners to fly their drones. They hit a helicopter and they had to do an emergency landing. And so a lot of people are pretty pissed off about that.
Extensive damage at that Christian summer camp for girls called Camp Mystic and Hunt. That's where the Guadalupe River peaked just after 4:30 a.m., hitting nearly 30 feet in a time span of 45 minutes. The focus since then, search and rescue. Around 850 people have been rescued so far. At Camp Mystic, 28 have died, while 10 children and 1 camp counselor are still missing. Governor Abbott has since issued a state disaster declaration in over a dozen counties. Meanwhile, President Trump is also sending federal disaster assistance with plans to visit the area potentially by Friday. We've been here, Guadalupe Park, boots on the ground all day. What we've seen also, those search and rescue missions as well, mainly from the aerial eyes in the sky. We've seen several emergency aircraft fly throughout this area all evening, along with drone pilots as well. Private companies, I should say, in San Antonio coming here, working with federal agencies, local state agencies as well, just trying to help bring that much needed closure to families and a community here. Also still waiting for some of those questions to be answered, and we're hoping to get some of those tomorrow morning when we hear from local state leaders by 10 a.m. local time. Back to you guys.
Hey, Sarah, this is Casey here. I'm curious, what are services like? We haven't heard a lot of information in terms of people without power. They talked about needing to go to well water because of all of the contaminants in the floodwaters themselves. And we see the linemen out there trying to restore power. What are the services like in the region?
And that's a big part of this as well, is waiting to get that power, waiting to get those resources as well. And when we are covering storms like this, when you're dealing with this extensive amount of rain and the flooding that happens, this water is so incredibly contaminated as well, which leads to its own set of problems, health issues too. So right now, service isn't doing so good. We have a lot of these homes here in this area where we saw the water reach up to their backyards, causing that extensive damage without power, without internet, waiting for a lot of those resources and relying on people outside of the area as well. But then when we're talking about the perimeter of this, really impacting all of central Texas, so still a lot of people without those much needed resources. So it's not only dealing with the devastation that we're surrounded by, but those little things that I think many people can miss and not think about, but are really essential in your day-to-day life, Casey.
Sarah Allegre from Fox, thank you so much for being there on the ground. You and your photographer, stay safe, and we appreciate your coverage. Dan Henry's here.
Yeah, and Dan, we heard it, from Sarah, again, looking at the timeline, which is what a lot of people are going to go over to try to figure out how this happened, what folks could have done differently.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there were watches in place, a couple of days ahead of time, and there were a couple of warnings that were issued. But, this is one of these type of 100-year events where it's, almost impossible to know that it was going to be that bad. Sure. Hours and hours in advance, but certainly when they did recognize it, they were putting out the warnings. But unfortunately, by that time, it was past midnight, and many folks were already in bed. So why so deadly? Well, there were a number of factors. We've talked about the torrential rain and the rocky terrain. 10 to 15 inches of rain fell in less than 6 hours, and that caused massive runoff as all the creeks and streams and tributaries feeding water into the Guadalupe. It happened at probably the worst possible time during the overnight. Much of the rain fell after midnight while campers were still sleeping. And then that led to, of course, that rapid river rise that we've been talking about. The Guadalupe rose over 22 feet in 45 minutes at Kerrville. And then all that water flowing downstream led to a 30-foot rise at Comfort about 5 hours later. And we've seen some videos of that wall of water literally coming down the pike. There's a look at some of the rescue efforts there going on. I believe if we go back to my weather computer, we can show you the Texas radar loop here. Now, this is during July 3rd to July 4th. We had a tremendous amount of tropical moisture in place all across the state, including the hill country, and you can distinctly see that.
Let's watch some of the, here we go.
Children from here in North Texas, people are calling on lawmakers to fund some type of new alert system near the Guadalupe River. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick talked about emergency sirens on Fox News Monday afternoon.
But had we had sirens along this area, up and down, the same type of sirens that they have in Israel when there's an attack coming, that would have blown very loudly, it's possible that would have saved some of these lives.
Kerr County does not have outdoor sirens.
I hope they learn from this and don't rebuild in the flooded areas.
Failed because of the cost.
Ooh,
this past
rebuilding in the flooded areas, imagine.
13 would have created an organization to allocate state funds for things like outdoor sirens. But the bill did not make it out of a Senate committee. Even if it had passed, it would not have taken effect until September.
You're just going to have to come back with old technology that works with new tech to give another shot at getting people's attention in a flash flood area.
I spoke to Harris County State Senator Paul Betancourt Monday. He took to social media saying he wants to file legislation to put sirens in flood-prone areas.
This is just another way to layer in more possibilities of getting people's attention in a natural disaster. Because unfortunately, we're over-reliant on this now because we want it to do everything. But there may be times when people ignore it or they turn it off. So a siren cuts through all that. It goes around this technology and can work with it.
Stephen Dial, Fox 4 News.
All right, Stephen, thank you. Stay with us. More coverage after the break.
Okay. All right, that was the coverage there from Fox 4 Dallas, doing a great job of giving us the updates all in real time. All right, we are going to take a 2-minute break on Live Now from Fox. Stay right here with us. More to come in just moments.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So there was this interview with this family trapped inside of a house as it swept away. Let's take a look at
that. Did you feel that?
Yes.
What did that feel like?
Like being on a big boat.
So yesterday, early morning, can you talk to me about what you felt?
Yes. We got a notification that a severe flash flood was coming our way.
When was that?
On our telephones. I think it was, 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning. And we knew it had been raining. And I got up and looked out the window and I said, there's a little bit of water on the street, which is very typical in this neighborhood. I've lived here all my life. And then we started hearing some noises. Then the electricity went off. I opened the back door and water was already over the top of our AC unit outside, fixing to come in the house. I shut the door, we got everybody up, got clothes on, and then the next thing we know, our house is filling up with water. And then the electricity went off, and the reason it did was because the house broke loose, hit the tree, spun around, and floated down here, so we're floating inside the house.
Did you feel that?
Yes.
What did that feel like?
Like being on a big boat, and there was nothing we could do, and it was dark, so we didn't know exactly where we were going to end up. And of course the house was falling apart, water's pouring in from everywhere, tree limbs poked through the back wall back there, tore out the whole back corner of the house, water's pouring in everywhere. All we did was get up here by this window because this was the highest point of the house.
Who's we? Who's
my wife and my other 2 daughters.
What were the emotions you were feeling as this was all going on?
We were scared and we were doing a bunch of praying.
And this must have all happened so fast.
It happened so fast we couldn't do anything. And so we didn't know where we were at, but we knew the house stopped, but we didn't know if it was going to come apart or what was going to happen.
Did you feel it crash into Miss Dottie's?
Yes.
What was that like?
Just hard bang, man, just like being in a car wreck, It jolted us all, and we wasn't sure where we were at though because it's dark, we couldn't see. And so we just stood all in this window, watching the water rise, and saying our prayers that nobody died.
What was it like when you...
They also said there was a post saying that the likelihood of finding flood survivors is fading, which, yeah, it sounds like it. Rescuers and volunteers continued to hack through fallen trees and piles of debris in search of flood survivors on Monday. You never know, though. Anything's possible, but yeah, it's slim. But I've heard of some crazy, amazing stories of survival, but the more and more days that go on, yeah, the slimmer it looks. But you never know.
Saw everything.
Well, they rescued us about 8:30. We were in there for about 3 hours or so. And all of it, everybody down here, we couldn't get out. It was a raging river coming through here. And when we finally got out, we had waded in about waist deep water and got out. The fire department got us all out, took us to the community center.
Dylan?
So we didn't really know, we didn't see all of this till we came back later in the day. And then we were like, oh my gosh, we were devastated. Which I knew my place was bad, but I didn't know how bad my dad's house was on the corner and all these other places.
And seeing it now, and seeing the community output, you know, just
brings tears to my eyes. All the neighbors have been so good to us. My boss that I work for, all my co-workers, all my subcontractors, they have all been calling me. My builders that I work with, all calling me wanting to come help. It just breaks my heart to see how many people are down here helping all of us, just giving us their free labor, man. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And what's a message you want to give to Texas officials or local officials for, you know, relief and coming to help in a situation like this for your entire neighborhood here?
Yeah. We need help. A lot of us are homeless. We have nowhere to go. We have nowhere to stay. Some of them have flood insurance. Some of them don't. We're fortunate enough to.
Damn, they got Perkins' mugshot too 44 minutes ago. Oh, hell nah. Hold on. That's Perkins? Oh, shit. Damn, Sarah Fields. Oh, that's Perkins. We got to zoom it in. Hold on. Oh, no. That's Perkins? Oh. Oh, God. Oh. Oh.
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
Oh, man. No wonder she's so angry. Lord almighty. Perkins Sade. Lord. So pray for her, man. Pray for her.
So we're just going to have to make do until we get all the insurance settled and see. But we need some help down here. There's a lot of people hurting right here, right now, that need help. They don't have what the funds that they need.
Thank you for watching. Please
pray for her. Texas flooding. I think we've kind of seen. Oh, who's this? Oh, let's see real quick.
Yeah, claiming at least 89 lives.
My father received a call from my uncle. He had just been abruptly woken up to his RV flooding away, and he was losing everything, just in complete panic.
Ryan sharing this video of his uncle's RV as water rose. Ryan's grandparents were about 20 yards away. He says they briefly spoke with them as his uncle ran to their campsite.
Stated that, hey, you need to wake up, you need to get out of there now. Everything's underwater. There's a lot of trouble coming your way.
But in the roughly 4 to 6 minutes it took for Ryan's uncle to get there, everything was washed away.
This is where my parents were staying.
There's RVs wrapped around trees 20 feet high.
Debris making recovery efforts challenging. More than 24 children have died from the rushing water, some from North Texas. Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner of Dallas were visiting Camp Mystic.
I honestly feel like Trump should have been visited Texas already, you know? I know they're saying he's going to go like at the end of the week, like Friday or something, but I saw today he had a sit like a dinner or something with Netanyahu, and Netanyahu was said he was going to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize, and also something about giving Ukraine more weapons, Trump said, but I didn't listen to it. I just saw some snippets on X. Let me see what this says here.
President, are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have
more weapons to Ukraine. And I don't know, man, because I thought like it's just so much overseas intervention, and I thought we were trying to stay out of that. I mean, Iran, okay, we did the bomb thing. Now we're still meddling with Ukraine, which I thought we were going to kind of get a little bit away from that. But I don't know. I just feel like he should have been in Texas. But he said the reason supposedly not is because he felt that, or I thought I saw somewhere where he said he felt like that he'd get in the way right now of the search efforts. I don't know. Maybe they'd take a bunch of resources and stuff like that to, if you were to come there. But I don't know. I just feel like all that stuff, Israel, Ukraine, blah, 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 we should even though I know he signed the bill and stuff, I feel like we should acquiesce to Texas. The people are died, all these kids that are dead, missing. I feel like that should have been happened faster instead of Friday. Storm not done yet. Wait till it's over flooding. We told Ukraine we were back them. Okay, well, I guess we'll keep. Yeah, they don't want him there. It's a lot to accommodate the airspace. I understand that. The amount of cops, I guess.
In St. Rita's Catholic
the
schools,
amount of cops and resources, I guess, that it would take.
And Blair Harbor. Their grandparents, pictured on the left, are still missing. And twins Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence, their grandfather stating, "It's been an unimaginable time for all of us. Hannah and Rebecca gave their parents, John and Lacey, and sister Harper, and all in our family so much joy. They and that joy can never be forgotten." And as we learn the dozens of more names, the devastation only deepens.
The only reason that we still have hope is through the good Lord above.
And hope is what they cling to. In Dallas, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
And this afternoon, we are hearing growing questions over accountability. But city officials explained today they actually struggled in real time whether to order evacuations and when to do so, because they weren't sure how severe the flood risk was going to be. And by the time the rain actually started falling, they got worried about putting people on the roads and getting them right in the path of the flood. Senator Ted Cruz just said, obviously, knowing what they know now, they would have done things differently.
Everyone would agree in hindsight, if we could go back and do it again, we would evacuate particularly those in the most vulnerable areas, the young children in the cabins closest to the water. We would remove them and get them to higher ground. Next time there's a flood, I hope we have in place processes to remove especially the most vulnerable from harm's way.
Now look, we might not see a wall of water.
This guy's really, what is he standing on? Right at the ledge of something, right? With the water's running, water's running all over his foot.
For decades, but we're almost guaranteed to have flash flood warnings again later this year. I just spoke with a mom who launched a new petition drive to try to get sirens installed here.
Absolutely.
We meet Nicole Wilson along the Guadalupe River in Kerrville. Do you feel the clock ticking with
ties up a lot of resources for the president visit?
The legislators about to come back into special session?
I do, and that's why I'm pushing so hard with this petition. My goal is to get 1,000 signatures.
Her own daughters were at another camp along the river the morning of the flood.
Children expect parents or adults are going to rescue them. That's what they
Yeah, that's true.
That's what they know. And so it was heartbreaking to know that not all kids might be. So from there, I kind of was like, what can I do?
Wilson launched a new petition urging city and county officials to use every available resource to expand the early warning system. She says, with the world watching, Texas has to address this issue with urgency.
I have to take a hard look at where can we find this money, but it'll absolutely be top of mind, I think, for our legislators. And if it isn't, there's something really wrong with them.
Well, she's certainly not the only one going down this road. In fact, just this afternoon, State Senator Paul Betancourt said he intends to file legislation in this upcoming special session that would require the old school sirens, the physical warning sirens.
That'd be kind of hard to pull up. But where? How's his pants not wet or anything? He's standing on the water, on the ledge?
River areas in Texas. And then after that, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
What is going on over here? What is he standing on?
If local officials are not able to afford such a system, he promised that the state would then step in to help pay for it. I want to bring in my colleague, Chief Meteorologist Pete Delkus. Pete, obviously any rain would impact the search and recovery efforts here along the Guadalupe River.
All right. Let's. I want to hear a little bit too of. There's two other clips I forgot to play. I was supposed to play this for. I think I'm almost pretty much over Sadie, but people, the internet was just lit. Everybody was coming to say something. A lot of these ladies too, they were firing off. Some of the ladies had something to say. I think it was all. Well, there was a couple guys, but
Crazy lady Sadie has a This crazy lady, Sadie, has a YouTube channel, right? You are not going to freaking believe what she's posting about the Idaho 4 victims.
Idaho 4?
Do your thing. And let's get her kicked off YouTube. Watch this.
What is so special about this man? And why him? Why him? Why not this guy? Why doesn't MAGA want him to be set free? Why not Brian Koberger? He got his whole...
I didn't know this chick had all this stuff on her channel. I never watched. Oh, she has is that a YouTube page? She has a YouTube page? I didn't know she had all this stuff on there. I didn't know she'd spoke on all these cases.
Life ahead of him. He only killed, 3 white bitches? So why Derek Chauvin, but not him? Why don't y'all want him back on the streets? Is it because he murdered 3 reproductive baby machines for your white supremacist movement? Is that why y'all are upset about him? Because I feel like
I can't imagine what it must be like living with this person.
Play that game. Y'all want to set everybody free. Y'all want to set the white supremacists free. Set this motherfucker free. How about that? Set him free. Is it because Derek Chauvin had a target audience and you know who he's going to go out there and murder, and this guy also had a target audience and you know who he's going to go out there and murder, but yet y'all really going balls to the wall for all these white supremacists in jail who have hurt, maimed, killed black people?
First off, we do not want Derek Chauvin freed. He's right where he needs to be.
Some people do, actually.
Second of all, what the hell is wrong with you? How can you have that much hate for people with different skin color? You are the epitome of racism. And you need to be canceled.
Damn, she said you got to be canceled? What is she? Sassafras. Listen, I don't believe in cancel culture. However, I can make exception for Sade Perkins. Her racism is on full display. She said that, yeah, we know the Camp Mystic was white supremacy camp. Those girls, they got what they deserved. I didn't know she had commentary on the Idaho stuff.
She will be remembered for this comment for the rest of her life. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, there is a creator on here called Sadie's World who decided to make a video yesterday claiming that the children who passed during the tragic event at Camp Mystic yesterday deserved to go because they were at a camp that was meant for all white, alt-right, conservative Christians whose family voted for Donald Trump. Children. These were children. Yes, obviously some adults did pass, very unfortunately, in this situation, but she was specifically referring to the children that were unalived.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this.
But she's proud of what she's stated, and she's fighting up against anybody who says otherwise. And just a little clarification here, Camp Mystic is not for all white people. Nowhere on their website says anything about this being dedicated for only one race. But yes, it is a little girls' camp, and yes, it is a Christian camp. It also says nothing about only accepting families who voted for Donald Trump. And she's been going back and forth with a couple of creators, and in one of those creators' pages, she left this comment right here, where they were calling her out, saying that she should reap the consequences of what she's stating. And she said, consequences for what? Laughing, laughing, laughing. Maybe it was God's will to wash them lil away. Let me remind you, she's talking about little kids, referring to them as a see you next Tuesday, and claiming that it was God's will for them to consequences. Somebody's already gone out. Apparently she's already lost her job. And I'm never one typically for cancel culture, but in this situation, I hope that she is remembered for that comment for the rest of her life. And I hope that she is remembered for those videos for the rest of her life, because that is unforgivable from all sides.
Yeah. All right. So that was the ladies, the last remarks. Former CIA officer has come out and said the deep state probably destroyed the Epstein files.
I'm not blaming the FBI director, Kash Patel, or the deputy director, Dan Bongino. I think that that layer beneath them, that's part of what we like to call the deep state, has taken this bull by the horns, and they've probably destroyed information. Look at what the CIA did in 1975 after Congress ordered that it release all of its files related to an operation called MK Ultra. The director of the CIA went back to headquarters and ordered everything to be destroyed. And in the end, only about 20% of the documents survived. We're still learning about the FBI's operations against Martin Luther King 55 years after the fact. So now we're supposed to believe that everybody's telling the truth, that there were no files, there were no dossiers. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it because I know how these people operate.
No, they're being honest with us. We should try. I don't know. I can't anymore, man. All this BS. Let me see what else here. Crazy, man.
And I was only, so I just got to the office. I'm gonna go throw up actually, and this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically gonna puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity, and I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this.
Oh, the files.
So I'm gonna.
Wow. That was I was saying this Alex. Wow. Oh man. Well.
4th of July in Hunt, Texas, with her boyfriend Aiden, and the search for them continues at this hour. Joining me now is Ella's mom, Tanya Powell. Tanya, thank you for being with us in this incredibly difficult time. I know that part of your motivation is to let everyone know about your daughter, and the search is ongoing. Tell us what you know right now about the search for your daughter.
Well, I know that the kids came over, they're college seniors in San Antonio, and they came over to celebrate the holiday, and we received a call at about 4 a.m. Aiden's dad, he owns the house, and the kids often came over here, just every other weekend, really, and to ride on the river. But he received a call around 4, and Aiden was asking his dad what he should do, that water was coming in the house, and he then said that he needed to help Ella because she was struggling to stay on the front porch. And he handed the phone to another friend, Joyce. And Joyce said they just got washed away. And then she said, tell my parents that I love them. And then that's the last we've heard from them. And the entire house is gone. It's just a slab left. So we're just desperately just trying to find. We found Joyce and Reese, 2 of the friends, have been found deceased. And now we're just trying to recover Ella and Aiden, who were high school sweethearts, my daughter and her boyfriend. And just want to find them.
Well, I'm so sorry, Tanya. I can only imagine how incredibly difficult this is. What are you hearing from authorities or regarding the search efforts?
Well, we're here. We're searching. We're not really. There's lots of people on the ground here coming in and out. There are special forces teams out here, and I've seen Border Patrol teams out here with dogs and volunteer teams. So, honestly, we're not really talking to the authorities. We're all just out here searching. We haven't really stopped. So I just guess they're just doing what they need to do to help us find them.
Okay, let's check this out. Apparently they're having a vigil in Texas flooding vigil remembers victims from Curva and Guadalupe River. Let's take a look at that. Just kind of check it out. Let's see. I guess they're going to speak, too, it looks like. Just listen in for a little bit, see what's going on with that, if anything, you know. Oh, there's a lot of people there, yeah. Luis, thank you for the 20. Thank you for covering this. It's very sad. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's very hard. I appreciate you.
That's true, Paul. Yeah. What a crazy roller coaster, right? This whole thing is just... out of nowhere. So many people, man. And the numbers are still rising. I wonder how high the death toll is going to reach. Let's see, it's 8:40 out there in Texas. I didn't even know this was happening. I was scrolling and I saw this. I didn't know they were doing a Vigil thing. I wonder if I can find any more information. I wonder who's going to talk. $104. California governor deploys search and rescue teams to Texas. Gavin Newsom announced on Monday that the deployment of urban search and rescue team members to Texas to assist with ongoing response efforts to the Hill Country flooding disaster, according to the governor's office. California stands with all those who have lost loved ones, homes, and livelihoods in the devastating aftermath. In close coordination with FEMA, the California governor's office of emergency services is deploying these crews. There's a jeweler, James Avery Jewelers, donating $1 million to flood relief funds. Also, the Rangers donate $1 million to flood relief. Texas Rangers. Mavs, Spurs, and Rockets donate $2 million to flood relief. Wow. Okay.
By camp counselors, by the heads of these camps. There are many heroes that, if not for their efforts, there would have been many more that would have perished. It's already terrible enough, but
Oklahoma has sent us water rescue folks, really.
Think about that too.
And
Grammy, how you holding up?
A holiday weekend when so many people were supposed to be having fun, and we're looking forward to the 4th of July festivities, and it's just really unimaginable. Dan Henry, thanks again. Stay with us, guys. We've got some more coverage.
Grab your candle, make sure to grab one. We also have refreshments in the back. Thank you.
All right, so they're starting soon. Okay. Let's check out, see what they have to say. Just kind of curious. I don't know what the service is going to be, but maybe a prayer or something. $990. We have 990 email subscribers. We're almost at 1,000. 10 away. Oh, it's nice. Yeah. That's about there. Yeah, scammer started. Yep.
It's called Operation Barbecue Relief, and that's where chefs have been cooking up some comfort for folks in Kerr County.
There are so many volunteers hoping to provide comfort and relief to the Kerrville community. Operation Barbecue Relief is serving hundreds of people in need of a meal today.
Yeah, so let's clean the boards. We got our volunteers out here chopping fresh vegetables. We're going to be doing that. We're cooking some chicken, cooking some sausage, going to make a nice one-pot pasta dish for them.
Chris Huggins and his team of volunteers have taken the kitchen to Kerrville, a tent and trailers stocked with all the ingredients they need to feed the masses.
So we keep equipment staged in the Dallas area. We have a small kitchen support trailer that can do 2,000 to 3,000 meals.
They're serving up 600 meals for lunch and around 1,400 for dinner. Their only goal is to feed those who are working around the clock to search, rescue, and aid those impacted by the Kerr County floods.
Our first responders are working tirelessly to find these people that have been swept away by the floods, but also to get back to those people that are displaced, to give them that comfort of a hot meal, to know that, hey, we're here, we care about you. I'm not a rescue worker. I can't fix your house. I can't do all those things, but I can cook you a hot meal.
The team of pit masters, cooks, and those with a giving heart come from all across the country.
Arrived home Saturday evening, 6:30 at night, unpacked the car, and then restarted packing my bags and left 2 a.m. Sunday for the airport and landed here yesterday.
Let's listen, and they're getting a crowd here.
We certainly know that this is an incredibly somber and difficult time for all of us, but we are in the center and the heart of our city, and I say all the time, there is no place more soulful than downtown San Antonio. So there is no better place for us to be able to congregate, to be able to really unite in fellowship, lean on each other, have a shoulder to cry on, or just talk to each other about what we are experiencing in the wake of devastating tragedy. What many people don't know, I'm a native San Antonian, born and raised here, is that there are very intimate and very strong ties to the Texas Hill Country in San Antonio, Texas. Whether it is familial, whether it is ranching, whether it is camping, or whether it is economic development. Our neighbors to the north are a part of San Antonio. And so, quite honestly, this idea came to me on Sunday morning after I had watched the coverage. I have children, and I wept like many of you wept. And I felt like Sunday morning, as I sat there feeling somewhat helpless, like many of us have, that we had to do something. And there is no better way for us to help each other and unite in grief and support in coming together. Because us doing it alone is not helpful. So I want to recognize a few people that I know are here this evening. Aiden and his group from Trinity University. Please raise your hand. They have lost friends, obviously, that have not been recovered at the rage of the Guadalupe River and this billion gallons of water that drenched this area. So Aiden, thank you for being here, and we ache with you, and we pray, obviously, that your friend is brought home, because at the end of the day, what we need right now is closure. We know the impact has been felt at UTSA, so I went to both schools, UTSA and Trinity. So anyway, we know the impact is deep, and not just with the schools that I just mentioned, but most importantly, the young children who I cannot imagine the horror and the terror that many of them felt on that evening in the middle of the night, not knowing what was going to happen to any of them. And so my kudos to the bravery that was exhibited by those who also perished in the line of work in trying to save those young people. Yeah. So we have seen heroics in the air and on the ground, and certainly from here in San Antonio with firefighters that have been deployed, emergency management, and these are people that go into really crisis situations not knowing what is going to happen to them themselves, but they're only in it to be able to rescue someone or be that hero in that situation. So anyway, we are incredibly grateful, obviously, for the clergy that we have here today. And I'm going to recognize each of them. If I could ask you to come up here before I introduce the mayor.
Oh, the mayor?
Reverend Cynthia Ladson, who is a pastor at St. James AME Church. Thank you. Reverend Juan from Travis Park United Methodist Church. Thank you for being here. Not far from here, obviously. Reverend John Allen, if you are here, from New Light Church. And most importantly, Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Siller in the Archdiocese of San Antonio. God bless you for being here tonight. I know you have been so busy. I know you have been very, very obviously busy in Kerrville, but please come up here and stand with us. We have several city council people who are here today. Father Carlos, I see you here today from San Fernando Cathedral. Please come up here as well. So the council people that we have here today, Ivelisse Meso Gonzalez from District 8, please come up here. Thank you. Edward Munguia from District 4, thank you for being here tonight. Misty Spears, Councilwoman from District 9, we appreciate the fact that you are here. We recognize you, and we appreciate the fact that you all share the grief that we feel today. Thank you very much. So the leader of our city, who obviously has been deploying resources to an area that needs it the most, is our new mayor, Gina Jones, who's here. Mayor Jones, if you could please come to the podium to say a few words. We know you have a flight early in the morning, so we appreciate the fact that you were here tonight.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you to your team, Archbishop, faith leaders. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you all for taking time this evening to also, frankly, do what we do in these times, which is come together, express our condolences, and be that shoulder that some of our neighbors need us to be right now. I cannot imagine the grief that so many are experiencing just an hour north of us, as they were, you know, in the dark of night, experiencing this once in a generation weather event that unfortunately took too many, and unfortunately some of the most vulnerable, those least able to fend for themselves, as mentioned, many young girls in particular, as well as those in the Kerrville community, that again, frankly, this happened too quickly, and they were not resourced to deal with it. As mentioned, San Antonio, at the request of the governor, we have sent firefighters as well as the needed resources, an ambulance bus, a boat, as well as we help with the search, rescue, and recovery efforts. We've got 21 personnel there currently helping with those, and obviously we will do that for as long as we need to, because in these times, it doesn't, you know, Kerr County, Bexar County, doesn't matter, right? We are going to step up and help in the way that we can. Thankfully, we have the resources to do it, and I'm thankful that we obviously have the good men and women able to provide that. This is a time where we're also just reminded of just kind of how fragile time is, right? And how important it is that we are thoughtful with our time, with our energies, and certainly in these moments of heartbreak and of loss, that we step up in a way that only we uniquely can. And we reach out to our neighbors and we ask them how they're doing, what more can be done to support them. So I'm thankful that, you know, Trish and her team, you know, brought us together this evening. And, you know, the work will continue, I think, as we've all looked at the images of, unfortunately, what's going on in the community. That is going to be a very long haul. And San Antonio, as I shared with the mayor of Kerrville, will be with them every step of the way, right? That's just what we need to do in this time, so we'll continue to do that. But we are, frankly, blessed with our good fortune here to be able to do that. So thank you all for making time to be here today, to stand in solidarity with our own neighbors in our community who may still be thinking about those that unfortunately have not yet been found or recovered. And we pray for those souls that are doing the hard work. We pray for those souls, frankly, that have been lost too soon. Frankly, we thank God for each and every day that we have on this earth, and that we have the ability to do the most that we can with that time. Thank you again, Trish, to your team. So let me turn this over to you.
Quickly, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that this hits particularly close to home here in San Antonio, because we just lost 13 lives 3 weeks ago in a tragic and horrific flash flood just off Pyramidal Road in Starcrest. So the impact and the magnitude of what is felt in the Hill Country is compounded by what we felt here with the Battle Creek victims. So I just want to make sure that we are here, obviously, because of the tragedy that happened over the weekend. We cannot forget the 13 lives that were lost in Battle Creek here very recently. So I'm going to introduce some of the clergy that we have here today. I need to recognize Alex Lara with Elevate Church, located on the south side. So, Alex, if you want to come up to the podium and say a few words, we are blessed that you are here tonight with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody who made time out of your busy schedules to be here, to come together and draw strength from one another, to grieve together, and to mobilize for action during this time of great tragedy. On the way over here, I was contemplating, what should I say? And immediately what came to my mind and heart were the words of the mighty Martin Luther King. And he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can drive out darkness. And my beloved, these lights that we are holding are symbolic of that light that's going to drive out this darkness that has literally flooded places like Kerrville and the other counties, and those of you who have been affected through the loss of a loved one. These are symbolic of the light of unity. Unity is not uniformity. Unity is not about all of us looking the same, being the same. It's about coming together and uniting our differences towards a common cause. And that cause tonight and beyond is to bring healing, is to bring relief, to bring provision, and to take action for those that were affected by this flood. These lights are symbolic of God's grace. The grace that will empower you and enable you to walk when you can't run in the faith, to crawl when you can't walk in the faith. And at times, the grace, the light of grace that will carry us when we feel like we can't go anymore. These lights are symbolic of the light of action that needs to be taken in the midst of this tragedy. The good book, the Bible, says that if your neighbor is naked and is hungry, pray for them. But just don't pray for them. Cover their nakedness. Give them something to eat. And I thank God and I commend you and I tip my hat off to you, because I'm looking at a bunch of lights of action that are here not just to grieve, that are here not just to pray, but here to see how they can mobilize to take action, to cover, to heal, to be the hands and feet of Jesus. You're not just holding the light, you are the light. And lastly, these lights are symbolic of our faith in God. I was very encouraged and inspired by a clip I saw on the news of this bus full of young girls who had just been rescued. Girls that just saw their campmates perish. Girls that saw debris and bodies pass by them. Girls that were dealing with possibly hypothermia and saw houses and cars float down the water. Yet, in the midst of all that, they were praising God. They were worshiping God. And never forget the words that they were saying as they were worshiping. They were saying, I'm going to shout it from the mountaintop. Praise God. God has come to me. And regardless of what faith you are, we can all take a page from these young girls' book on how to respond to tragedy. And that is, in the midst of everything that is going on, we must draw ourselves close to God. In fact, Scripture says that when we draw ourselves close to God, He will draw Himself close to us. At this time, I want to say just a quick prayer of encouragement, guidance, and strength. As a declaration, as a sign of faith, I want you to lift your light in the air as high as you see yourself in this state of Texas, rising above this darkness. Lord God, we ask that you comfort us right now. Your comfort is your sympathy. You can sympathize with our pain, our loss, whatever it is that we are experiencing right now, because you lost your son. You know what it's like to be physically, spiritually, emotionally wounded. But your comfort, as the Bible mentions that you are the source of all comfort, is more than just your sympathy. It is your strength. Your strength to endure the unchangeable. Your strength to not just survive, but to move forward. Your strength to encourage others in the midst of our own discouragement. Your strength to be a blessing to those in the midst of our own brokenness. And right now, I pray that you would comfort everybody here that is hurting, that has questions, that is angry, that is sad. Lord, I also pray that you give us your peace. Your peace is not a human peace. It's a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that don't make sense. And we need that peace, because right now it don't make sense, this tragedy. Your peace is not the absence of conflict, but it's an inward calm in the midst of outward chaos. And I pray that you will flood the hearts and minds of those that are hearing my voice right now with your peace. Lord God, give us guidance, give us strength as we move forward to be your hands and your feet. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen. God bless you.
Okay.
Thank you, Pastor. So before we move on to the rest of the clergy, obviously I talked about the soul of the center city.
Okay, I just wanted to get a little snippet, kind of a feeling what was going on there with the Vigil. They're streaming on all the Texas pages. I guess the last thing, I just want to see this real quick. I guess, I don't know what this guy was talking about. Rainmaker Augusto Doricic explains seating. Let me see if I should take a quick look at this.
The overview of what cloud seeding is. About 93% of all of the liquid water that traverses, liquid and ice water that traverses the lower atmosphere over the US. So the water in the clouds, right? About 93% of that doesn't precipitate over land. It just evaporates away or gets recycled by the oceans. That means that there's a ton of water up there that's just going to waste that you can bring down. So certain clouds that aren't naturally precipitating or that aren't very efficiently precipitating, you can identify those with radar. You can measure that there's liquid in them that isn't coming down, fly a drone up into them, disperse a material that freezes the liquid in the cloud. And we can talk about what that material is later, but disperse a material that freezes the liquid in the cloud into big, heavy snowflakes that become heavy enough to fall down. And if it's warm beneath the cloud, melt into rain. If it's cold, stay as snow. And so if you just blast a cloud, right, that isn't, and then it rains, that isn't necessarily proof that you caused it to rain, right? Like maybe you're just good at picking clouds that were going to rain anyway. And so nobody could really justify doing this at scale up until 2017. And what changed then was the National Center of Atmospheric Research, an organization called NCAR out in Colorado. They realized if you have the right wavelength of radar, of dual polarization radar, which I'll talk about again in a sec too. But if you have the right kind of radar and you fly in a zigzag, right, or in a circle, or in your initials, and you only see precipitation on the radar in your flight track, then you can say, oh, that is definitively man-made because we flew in this zigzag or we flew in this spiral and there's only precipitation occurring in that shape. They did that in Idaho in 2017 multiple times. And that was the very first time that people were able to show, one, that it was unambiguously working, and two, that they could measure how much water they put on the ground. And so most folks, even in the scientific community, are still catching up to speed with this tech. The regulatory community, some people know about it, think it's cool. Some people think that it doesn't exist. Some people don't know the difference between cloud seeding and geoengineering and a bunch of other stuff. But
I'm in that category.
We'll talk about that then.
Well, this just came out I think about an hour ago. Mary Stevens' family confirms that she did not make it. Mary Stevens was at Camp Mystic during the flash flood. Many prayers to her and her family and all the families. Yeah. Horrible, 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 man. I guess that's it for tonight. I guess we're good for tonight. I have saved the extra notification. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Unless something pops off, something else pops off, I'll be back. But if not, that's it for tonight, I guess. And condolences and prayers to all those families. Over 100 now. That's just, oh my God. Over 100. I wonder if there's people that just won't even be accounted for. Nobody reported missing. Nobody knows about. Nobody's really looking for. And now Governor Newsom is saying he's going to deploy a search and rescue team to Texas. And in coordination with FEMA, which some people say it doesn't exist anymore, but in close coordination with FEMA. But they have a pretty big fire I thought they were dealing with too. Somebody pointed that out on X. It's nice. I think it's nice that they're gonna send help, but they got let's see. They had some fire that they're still dealing with, but well. All right. Earlier today there was an ice raid. I missed it, unfortunately. I would have jumped on. I don't know what I was doing. I stepped away. I took a little break or something. Next thing I know, there was like an ice raid. By the time I kind of noticed, it was already, the coverage was kind of just over. I had started jumping on, but I guess next time. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, Lachola. Hope you guys have a good night. Take care. Peace. Bye. Bloop, bloop, bloop.